Hello and welcome to the new video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the best teams for the Skull Cup. This is going to be an interesting cup. It's going to be a completely brand new cup, which is basically the same cup as a different one. We had like the cup that we have currently around. I think they just changed basically the water and the psychic type from it. So yeah, we're going to have here water type, fighting types, and dark type Pokemon allowed. I think one Pokemon is banned, which is Primarina, because Charm would be quite overpowered in this kind of meta. And yeah, the rest is going to be the Pokemon that you would kind of expect. We're going to see basically a team around every kind of meta Pokemon here today as well, and some more off-meta teams that are going to be a bit interesting as well for this one. But yeah, let's dive right into it, and we're going to move on with team number 1. And also, subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to take a look here at like basically the top tier meta stuff. We're going to have Toxapex, which is by far the number 1 spot on PV Poke for this meta. We're going to have Sableye, where the Shadow variant is a little bit better than the normal variant. I don't know why I didn't put the Shadow variant in here, but both of them are going to be fine to use. Yeah, Sableye is great against Toxapex, Gustlord, and Mandibuzz in the back going to be fine as well. I think Gustlord is actually a little bit better than Mandibuzz. If you have a Gustlord, this is the cup where you want to use it. Why? Because Morpeko is going to be very strong. They banned basically the only Charmer that would have Stab on it at least for this meta, which makes it definitely quite easy for Pokemon like Gustlord to exist, for Morpeko to exist. And so yeah, this is going to be a very interesting meta for those kind of reasons, and we're gonna see on how this is going to form. But yeah, this is going to be basically the standard meta team, which I would assume a lot of people are going to run, which is like the lame stuff. But let's move on to team number 2. This team here is going to have Annihilape or Gustlord in the lead, the Saysop of Morpeko, and Lantern in the back. Guess what? You're going to be able to use Morpeko as a Saysop while having a fighting type in the lead, because there is basically no Charm users in this meta. That is going to make it quite easy to still use it, and as you're gonna see, there's nothing that can really break it. Lantern is kind of great in order to deal with Toxapex or the Mandibuzz or the Azumarill, which could be a little bit of an issue for the top bit here, which kind of reminds me, actually, I didn't make a team for Azumarill because I don't feel like Azumarill is the greatest right now in the meta where Toxapex and Morpeko are the top 2 Pokemon. But yeah, Azumarill you could still use in certain teams most likely as well. I didn't really make one, but you could maybe use Azumarill here even in this team in the back. Actually, Azumarill works perfectly fine in this team that we just see here instead of the Lantern. Just use Azumarill there. That's kind of the same. Should work out totally fine in this meta. And we can move on to team number 3. Again, it's all going to be very similar. We're going to have here the lead of Mandibuzz and the Saysop of Annihilape. Guess what? Mandibuzz' main weakness is going to be in this meta to run up against Morpeko basically. We have 2 Pokemon in back that can deal with Morpeko, Annihilape as well as Gastron. Both have fast move pressure, both are going to be able to win this matchup. And that's basically how this is going to go. Anything else that really counters it, there's nothing really that else counters it other than Lantern, which you're going to have also answers for it. So basically, yeah, we have the Mandibuzz, we have Pokemon in the back that can deal with it. If you're to scared off Azumarill, I don't think that Azumarill is going to be super common, but you can use also the Skuntank as your Saysop then, which would also work out quite well in this meta. And this is going to be team number 3. Team number 4, I'm going to utilize here, funnily enough, the Chestnut as a fighting type Pokemon, Spiritomb as a Saysop, and Morpeko in the back. And again, we have a team that's triple weak to Charm, which I don't think is going to be that difficult for us to deal with, because again, I don't really think a lot of people are running Charm here, right? Toxapex is going to be, really easy to deal with Spiritomb as well as the Morpeko, which is going to be fine. Sableye is going to be neutral for both Chestnut as well as Spiritomb. You have Gastrodon, which is a Pokemon that Morpeko doesn't want to face, so you're going to be able to bait it out with the Spiritomb for sure, basically, because you have a lead that's going to be very good against Gastrodon. That's kind of how this team functions. You have a lead here as well that can deal mostly with like Pokemon like the Gustlord quite solidly, because you're going to have access to the move Superpower. Things like this are going to work out quite well here, and I think this team definitely should work out quite well generally in the meta. But again, what you see here throughout the video is that a lot of times you're going to have very, very similar teams here and very similar Pokemon. Funnily enough, actually, Hakoma-O and the Kommo-O, both of them have a unique spot in this meta. The unique spot is that you're going to be able to resist Electric and Dark, which is the most important thing for, of course, the Morpeko. Which means this is going to be an interesting Pokemon to counter Morpeko. And Sableye as well, kinda, and has solid play against a lot of other Pokemon. Just not Azumarill. That's why we have the hardest answer for Azumarill in the lead with the Lantern or Spark and Thunderbolt. And have the Saysop of Annihilape to bait them out. But yeah, Kommo-O I think has a lot of play in this meta for sure. Kommo-O as well, like both of them are totally fine. Depends on which, if you want to have Brick Break or Close Combat, if you have a little bit more bulk or a little bit less bulk. Depends, but this team looks like a really good one. I think this would work out really, really well, and it's kind of more ABB style. Team number 6, yeah, we're going to have the Jellicent, we have the Kommo again, and we have Hydreigon. Hydreigon, actually a very good Pokemon in this meta again. There's basically no Charmer here in this meta as well. Fighting type Pokemon, you're going to be able to bait out with the Kommo as well, because Jellicent is going to be the hardest answer to them. And yeah, Hydreigon has also a unique matchup kind of against Mandibuzz, where you're going to be able to at least resist the Dark type moves there. It should be an okay team here, for sure. I don't really know what, like, we maybe could run something different in the back still. But I actually think this is a really cool team. It should be working out quite well, especially against Sableye as well as Morpeko. So yeah, I think team number 6 should still work out, and of course with the buffed Jellicent. Next up, funnily enough, Mantine looks really cool here, especially with Ice Beam, because you need to have that for the Mandibuzz. Quagsire is a great safe swap for this team as well, because you're going to have access to the move Stone Edge for the Mandibuzz. And as you want to see here as well, this team looks basically perfect on paper, which is kind of cool, because you're going to have the lead that's going to be good against Gastrodon, against Pokemon like Chestnut, Azumarill. You're going to have the safe swap of Quagsire, which can deal still with like flying type Pokemon that you kind of want to bait out. And so yeah, I think this is going to be a very nice solid ABB style line with Mantine, Quagsire and Gastrodon all being part water but not sharing a single weakness. It's going to be a very interesting choice here for sure. And I think this should actually work out quite well, so definitely give it a try, and we can move on to team number 8. By the way, here of course, if you want to use the Shadow Quagsire, go for that one. I told you, Charm doesn't exist, but I was lying to you. We're going to see, I think, basically all Charmers. I think maybe Liepard would be one of them as well still on the screen here right now. And especially Gallade with Charm, I would assume, is going to be quite common in this meta, at least for the people who actually kind of spend some time looking into stuff. Because, yeah, this Pokemon looks actually really good, because you're going to be able to do so much damage against so many Pokemon. Issue here is, you might want to use Sableye in the lead, maybe for the Toxapex. That could be kind of the one issue for this one. The rest, you're going to be fine. Brionne in the back is going to be another good Charmer, because you have access to buffed Awkward Jet, which is going to be cool, plus Disarming Voice. Making it a very unique Pokemon to use here as well, having also the best bulk of them all. Meowscarada also has access to Charm, which makes it a very interesting anti-meta Pokemon. So, what I would assume is that a lot of people are going to start running Charm Pokemon here with the, Gallade especially. I think Shadow Gallade is going to be the most common Charm user in this meta. And then Brionne as well, which has a lot of play here. So, yeah, if you thought, oh, my Pokemon are totally fine, like in the beginning there as well. Currently, against the current meta, if people don't really pay too much attention, the team's all above going to be fine if you have the weaknesses there as well. I would assume it's going to be totally okay. But I could see the point where the meta shifts towards this one. This is not going to start in the beginning. Nobody's going to run this in the beginning. But as soon as the meta is going to be a bit established, I would assume that this is going to be fine. Again, we have a lot of teams as well. We have some poison types in this to balance it out in the beginning of it. But I kind of wanted to show you the teams I expect first. And now the teams that can beat those teams, which is going to be team number 8 here for sure with Double Charm. Most likely Sableye Double Charm. It's going to have a lot of play in the current meta. Another anti-meta Pokemon is going to be Shiftry. And yeah, this is kind of how I tried to build this video here as well. I kind of want to show the top meta that's going to be kind of there most likely all the time. And now the Pokemon that can beat it. Here we have 3 Pokemon that are weak to Charm, by the way. Which again, a lot of people are not going to run. But if you're going to see one, it might be a little bit of a tricky one. But you could maybe run something different. For example, Toxapex in the lead should still work out kinda. The issue here is, for example, if you run a poison type in the lead with this team, you're going to have a double weakness to Mud Slap, which I think is more common than Charm in the beginning at least. I think it's going to change eventually though. But Shiftry is going to be a great anti-meta Pokemon for the current meta as well, because you're going to be able to resist what Morpeko does. You're able to basically beat most of the water type Pokemon like Azumarill and Gastrodon, which is going to be great. And it has great synergy with the safe swap of Morpeko, because Morpeko with the safe swap here is going to have also great answers, for example, for like something like Azumarill, but bait out the Pokemon that would answer dark type Pokemon, which a lot of times is going to be a fighter like the Annihilate. And so this team should work out really well like this. And we're going to utilize Charm again here with the final team. Team number 10 is going to have the Gallade, which is going to have access to Charm, Leaf Blade, as well as Close Combat. And this is going to be a very interesting team where we kind of try to win the lead matchup and then align ourselves later on. Mantine going to help out the Morpeko with dealing with the ground type Pokemon, which is basically the only weakness for Morpeko, making it a really overpowered core. And again, Gallade as a lead is going to be very strong with Charm. And that's going to be it for this video. Please, if you would do so, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like, but also check out the video on the screen. It's from my girlfriend's channel. Would really appreciate if you could go over and spread some love there as well. Because yeah, we do some content on her channel as well. Most I didn't see that yet, but I would really appreciate it if you go over and just, yeah, share some love. Going to be on the screen right now, and I will see you then. Bye bye.